Hey, welcome back to the channel. Got a little something on the bench for you here. Well, maybe not a little something, a big old pile. So this is 1S charging. That's what this video is going to be about, an update that I've done for my 1S charging. I did this video a while back. This video here, I'm not going to say it's outdated, but I really wanted to do something a little more robust, so I kind of updated my 1S charging capabilities. So that's what this video is about. Stay tuned. Alright, so my most recent race was at the museum, so I got to actually fly Whoop in a race in the United States Air Force Museum. I'll put a card up here if I can remember of the 3-day event. I kind of summed it up in one video. Super awesome. Got to meet a lot of new people. Got to see some old faces that I haven't seen in a long time. So it was a really, really cool event. I had a lot of fun. But going to that and doing that, I wanted to upgrade my charging system. I wanted to get my 1S Lipos charged a little faster and do a little bit more of them. So what I'm going to do, I just kind of threw these up here as an example of all the different 1S Lipo batteries that I currently have and I'm charging up. And I'm going to do a video on the differences that I found. I kind of have all these different sizes. Most of them are GNB branded, but I do have a tattoo. I have these garbage happy model batteries, and I'll do a separate video on that. So let me get all these out of the way here. So what we're talking about right now is just charging. So let me get the actual charging unit out of the way, and let's talk about the power supply first. Okay, so this is a power supply I decided to go with, and this power supply has an adapter for automotive appliances. So if you have like a tire pump or there's some sort of radio or whatever, you can plug it in here, and then you can plug this into the wall outlet and run your 12-volt automotive accessories. I went with this because it had a couple features, and I'll go over those next. The first thing I had to do is cut this off. So I actually went in and opened up the case and separated it. And then I found where this went into the unit. I put in an XT60. This XT60 has 2 holes. There's actually a bracket. Let me grab one. Let me see if I can find one here. So this XT60 is a little bit different than just the ones you put on your quadcopter. So you might have like one of these on your quadcopter. These actually have a little. These are 2.5 millimeter screws that go into that nut. I just popped the nut out and put my own stuff in, but it's really tight tolerances, so it's not an easy task to mount that into your plastic. But you can see here, I've done a pretty good job. I've taken a razor knife and kind of did a little melting, a little carving to fit that perfectly in there. See if I can zoom in on that for you. So as you can see, there's very little bit of clearance between that plastic and the housing. So keep that in mind while you're carving away if you're going to do this yourself. There is enough space on the other side for the connector to be safely soldered to the wires. So there's 2 wires that come out of this. And you just have to use a multimeter to figure out which one's ground and which one's hot. And then you'll match it up with the polarity on your XT60. On this label. So the reason why I chose this one in particular is because it had the best features. The 12 volt with 15 amp. Okay, so if you take 12 times 15, you're going to have 180 watts. Now, there's a reason for doing this. Okay, I like 12 volt for these charging boards here. These charging boards, they say that they can go from, what is it? I think it says 7 to 26. This one here is the same, 7 to 26. and this one here says 7 to 22. I also have one that says 7 to 20. So that's kind of 12 volts seems to do a pretty good job where they don't get really hot. We'll get back to these charging boards in a second. Actually, let me go ahead and show you now. You just don't want them to get really hot. Some of them have, you know, venting. The voltage regulators are down right in there, and that's what ends up getting really hot. But you can see here that this has a 0.6. You able to see inside there? 0.6 and 0.2. So if you have a 600 milliamp hour 1S Lipo, that would be 1C charge rate. If you have a 300, I got that pushed up to the 0.6 amp, okay? If you have a 300 milliamp Lipo, it'd be 2C. I don't have any issues with 2C. I've been charging my Lipos at 2C for a while now. I have no issues. And then I have this switch up because this is normal voltage for a Lipo cell, which is 4.2, and then 4.35 is high volt. So manufacturers have produced these high volt regulated, you know, they're registered for high volt. Let me grab one real quick. So just for an example, we have a 650, a 350 mAh, so milliamp hour battery, and you can see here it's high volt, and you can charge it up to 4.35. Okay, so this 350 is less than, if you have your charge rate to 0.6, it's less than 2C. I recommend 1C or less than 1C. For this video, for anyone watching, you want that pushed down to 0.2 to charge this Lipo. That's my recommendation. 1C or less rating. I like to get it done a little quicker, so I charge them at that amount. So forth, so on. So this power supply is saying that it can do 15 amps. So what we need to do is we need to figure out how many Lipos. So this unit here has 6 bays. So how many Lipos do we need to plug in here and be safe? You don't want to exceed your power supply, and that's what I was doing before, trying to go at a higher charge rate with 18 Lipos. I was exceeding my power supply, so that's why I got this. Let me zoom out. So now with this power supply, the other feature that it had is it has a fan. So there's a built-in fan. So once this warms up, there's a large metal shroud inside, and the airflow goes over top of the board. It has venting on both sides, and there's a fan inside. So once this would warm up, there's a fan to cool it down. So that's another nice feature. And then my wife has these little nylon bumpers, so I can set it up and it doesn't move. So pretty handy. The other thing that was handy, unlike a couple other things that I looked at, this thing has a 10-foot cord on it. So you can plug this in from quite a distance. 10 foot will get you done. Not a big need for extension cords. And then this, of course, is just trash. I'm going to throw it off to the side. If I ever need it for another project, I'll use it. But for now, it goes in the bin. Here is my charging boards. So we're going to do a little math real quick. This is new. I normally have just 3 of these, and you can see I've made this connector. So this is a male connector, goes in there, and then this can plug into that. Oops. So that plugs in there, and then I plug everything in, and that's my charging rig now. It's pretty sweet, compact, it's pretty small, not very heavy. So I think we're done with the power supply. If you have any questions about this, hit me up in comments. I'll try to leave a Amazon. I don't have any affiliated ads right now, but I'll try to leave a link for the Amazon where I found that. I won this at the museum race, so that's super cool. I got to try out this. I haven't got to try it out very much because I just won it this weekend at the United States Air Force Museum race. So after winning that, I went ahead and got it put in there. I haven't got a chance to use it very much. But here's what we need to look at. Each one of these ports is 0.6 or 0.2 amps. So we need to multiply that. All right, so each one, so we have 6 ports, so just one by itself has the capability, if it's switched to high volt and it switched to, or if it switched to 0.6 charge rate, it's 3.6 amps. So now you're going to multiply that times 3, so you're going to look at 10.8 amps. And you want at least 20% duty cycle, so you need to have more than the 10.8 amps. So I have 15 amps available from my power supply, so that matched up pretty well with what I'm trying to do. So if I have 18 Lipos plugged in at 0.6, I shouldn't exceed my power supply. Of course, you want to watch it, make sure it doesn't melt or whatever, but that should take care of it. So that's kind of my upgrade that I've done to my 1S charging rig. So it's very portable, goes right in my backpack. It's easy to lug around because it's not heavy, and it gets the job done. The only thing that this doesn't do that I wish I kind of had is 1S discharging or 1S storage voltage. Because right now I literally have to plug in my Lipos and then kind of watch them. And as soon as they get to 3.9, I unplug them and then I check them and make sure they're 3.85 volts. So it's kind of a drawback, but I'll be honest with you, I don't really have any issues with that. So that's my 1S charging rig now. So I just want to do a video on updating my charging rig from the earlier video. And I hope this helped you out and inspired you to maybe want to build your own. And, if you have something, leave it in comments. I'm curious to wonder what you think and what you might be running. So if this video helped you out, give me a thumbs up and subscribe. If you hated it, man, you give me a thumbs down. It all works. Enjoy the breeze.